We're here at the Chicago Auto Show where Kia has just pulled the covers off the 2025 Kia Carnival MPV. And for those of you who don't know, MPV means Incognito Minivan. Now what we've seen with this model year is a few changes to the aesthetics. We have a couple packages added, but most significantly, and I think to keep up with the rest of the minivan segment, we now have a hybrid powertrain. The biggest visual difference you'll find here on the Kia Carnival is going to be up front. And for those with a keen eye and have been looking at Carnivals for years, what you'll see is a new, distinguished, and very elegant light shape here in amber. Now it's what we saw here on the K5 just a few moments ago, but I think it really helps build the rest of the shape for the front end. This is a fairly squared out front grille. We do have some curves, we have some edges, but overall this is a very different look than what you find across the Chrysler Pacifica or the Honda Odyssey and even the Toyota Sienna. This is part of what Kia is trying to do to distinguish this vehicle. Again, it's an MPV, not a minivan, but let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Is this pulling off the more SUV look, or is this just clearly a minivan with a little bit of lipstick? One of the other exterior changes we'll see in the Carnival comes in the form of a package, which is the dark package. Generally you see it on more sport-oriented vehicles, but if you check down here at the wheels, we not only have dark wheels, we move up to the mirror and have a dark mirror cap, we have darker trim, a darker set of roof rails, and this rear sail is that much darker. Now, one thing I like about this is that these dark trim pieces are gunmetal, not black. We do get more black on the wheel, but overall that gunmetal, especially against this white, I think works really well. We do also have a model in sort of a grayish blue, and that one with the dark trim looks good as well. That dark trim is going to carry through to the rest of the rear down here below the rear window, as well as the lower bumper, and it's a little bit difficult to see, but we've been told there is a redesigned rear skid guard as well as front, which again is trying to tell you that this is capable of more than just hauling the kids to and from soccer practice. Now, as you see here, the Carnival HEV is for the hybrid electric vehicle. I will say that unfortunately we don't have more information about the fuel economy, but the anticipation is that it's going to be significantly better. Not only does this deep storage provide great options for things like strollers, but it's also key to making sure that we can fold down these seats and have them tuck away in a way that provides a lot more storage capacity. Now in this model, we're looking at 7 total seats, captain's chairs there in the middle, and we'll take a little bit closer look in just a moment. We have a nice blue and gray interior, so it may be difficult to tell, but we even have blue along all of the plastic along the side of the vehicle. The biggest change to the Carnival for 2025 is under the hood, and that is the hybrid engine. Now, what we're seeing here is a replacement of the 3.5 V6 for the hybrid models. The 3.5 will still be here, but when you go to the hybrid, it's a 1.6 liter turbocharged engine mated to a 54 kilowatt motor, and that total is going to get you about 240 horsepower, about 270 foot-pounds of torque. That 30-point differential swings towards torque here on the hybrid model, but it swings the other direction towards horsepower on that 3.5 V6. Now, if it was me, I think torque is what you generally need to get up and get going. The higher horsepower number certainly doesn't hurt, but what we are waiting for and unfortunately don't have at the moment is what the fuel economy numbers are expected to be for this hybrid. One generally picks the hybrid motor option to save at the pump, and that is exactly what we would expect here. And it's great to see that the 54 kilowatt motor is able to give you just that much more torque, so we don't necessarily feel like we're losing any performance or necessary function as we drive the vehicle, but we are going to wait and see until we get this in our hands to see how well that hybrid performs. But in the meantime, we're waiting on numbers from Kia. One of the big giveaways that MPV is minivan is going to be the sliding door. But honestly, it's one of the most practical applications of a door in the world, which is why we find it in the people movers of the world. Now, climbing here into the captain's chairs, I will also see the updated 14-inch rear entertainment system. Now, if you're going to get a rear entertainment system for the children, it's best to have one that is going to meet their needs, and as our TVs at home get bigger, having a little bit bigger screen here is nice as well. These captain's chairs are nice and comfortable. If we want to get into the third row, we can do that as well. Now, before we move all the way to the third row, let's talk about the center row for just one more minute, because we have the captain's chairs here. And this seat is really, really comfortable and really difficult to move around if you're trying to get to the third row. There are a few different axes of motion here. So down in the corner, we can pull and slide left or right. We can also slide forward or backwards. And from the inside of the seat, we also have controls for tilt, slide forward, leg adjustment down here. It's a very comfortable seat, but it is going to make it more difficult to get to the rear. That said, I will go ahead and climb into the rear and see just how well we can fit others when the need arises. Now, you would generally do so through that center, and because we can slide this back and forth, that's going to be the simplest way to do it. This one is quite a ways back, but I do fit in a pinch. It is going to be a little bit lower roof than we find in some of the other competition. They are comfortable seats. There are cup holders here, and I even have USB-C charging, plus the third row window screens. Hopping into the front seat of the Kia Carnival, we do have a very comfortable seat that also sits very upright, which is one of the key advantages of a minivan without needing the extreme height of an SUV, which is where you normally find such an upright position. Down here we have the adjustability, which is quite extensive. We have four-way lumbar support, slide back and forth, up and down, tilt, both your seat back and your seat cushion, and along the side here, two-position memory seating. This interior is blue, and I have to say it's wonderful because we do not often get a colored interior. It is light or dark, potentially tan. In this case, we have a nice dark blue with this cream accenting pieces here, and even with just a little dashes of silver that we get throughout the rest of the interior, I think it's a fantastic look. Here up on the roof, we have two different moonroof sections, one for mainly the front seats and the other for mostly the third row seats, although obviously the second row is going to get some benefit from that. In the door, we are going to have a couple different colors as well as materials. We are going to have that darker blue that I mentioned earlier, along with the black plastic and silver trim. Along here, we're going to have our cream interior as well as some stitched sections to just add a little bit of visual differentiation amongst the other colors and textures. Down here for the speaker grill, we also have a unique design that isn't going to be seen many other places except for the other speakers throughout the cabin. Coming along the front, up here on the dash is going to be our blue, our gloss black, and then down to cream. And over here, we're going to have our new updated infotainment system. And this is going to be a connected infotainment system for Kia that is able to get software updates, which is going to be a first for the Carnival. This is also going to be just a little bit more screen real estate for your Android Auto and your Apple CarPlay. Without the vehicle being on, we can't show you the digital button bank here, but we can show you the USB charging as well as the wireless charging mat down here, as well as a separate storage cubby. Moving farther back on the center console, we're going to have our shifter, which is going to be a dial style. This is great in a minivan where the idea is making the most of the space, and now we have more vertical real estate because this is just that much shorter. Two large cup holders here, as well as the rest of our buttons in this attractive silver finish here. We have our heated steering wheel, heated and ventilated seating, as well as parking sensors and our parking camera. In the center console, it is going to be cream and stitched, as well as having a pretty deep cubby. Now, this is not going to be the deepest in the segment. There are going to be some trade-offs when we go for a little more style, which this certainly does, but it's plenty deep enough for most of your needs, and we do have another little cubby right up here for something a little more easily accessible. Our steering wheel here is also blue with a silver Kia and a silver surround. The only thing that's really throwing me off is this gloss black piece here in the middle. I think if they could have made this blue like the rest of the plastics throughout the interior, that this would have been a top-notch touch. I do understand though that the black and silver is what we need for our button banks. So we do have our cruise control, a lane keep assist, distancing, as well as our call, voice command, mode buttons, and our adjustable favorites button. While the changes for 2025 may be small in number, they can make a pretty significant impact. With the addition of the hybrid model, we're not only going to get very similar power outputs, but ideally significantly better fuel economy. Again, we're waiting to see what those numbers look like. With the addition of the dark trim, we see a sportier way to present your Carnival. I do love that our dark trim is gunmetal and not just all black. And for me, this rear sail has always been a bit unusual, but the darker it gets, the more I like it. If you've been on the fence between a minivan and an SUV, do you think the Kia Carnival has made just enough changes to bridge that gap a little bit or bring it closer to the direction you would prefer? Let me know down in the comment section below, and let us know if you're interested in that hybrid model, because we are certainly curious to see what the final result will be, and it certainly doesn't hurt to have a pragmatic, practical vehicle like a people mover be just a little bit more efficient. Let us know down in the comment section below. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, all those other social media places, and we'll see you next time.